We'd like to call the February 28th, 2023 meeting of the Culver Town Council to order. Before we start, this meeting is being recorded, and participation in the meeting is your consent to being recorded and to rebroadcast of the meeting. Recording will be available on the town's YouTube channel. Also, please take a moment to silence your phone. Roll call, please.
Mr. West.
Present.
Mr. Githens.
Here.
Mr. Chardy.
Here.
Mr. Clevenger.
Here. All rise for a pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item on the agenda is approval of the February 14th, 2023 meeting minutes. Are there any additional corrections to the minutes?
That we approve of this, approval of the February 13th.
Mr. West has moved to approve the minutes. There a second. Second. Mr. Giffen, second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. This is the approval of December financials. Everybody had a chance to look at the financials. Any additions or comments?
No, Karen, I think that you had reviewed them.
Yes,
Any
everything's fine.
stick out in your review. Okay.
A motion to approve, please. So moved. Mr. Giffen moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Valley, or Mr. Ricciardi, seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Next is community crossing bid open.
One bid. You want me to open it?
Yeah.
We do have BS Engineering here, so they'll be able to review the bid. Lakeshore Drive widening, Reed Wiley construction, looks like $1,204,942. And I'm assuming it will meet requirements, but we'll have BS Engineering take it under advisement, review it, and then get back to council.
Will you please repeat the amount?
$1,204,942.
Okay, thank you.
Then the ballpark and what you guys were expecting it is.
Next item on the agenda is the FSSA grant opportunity. Board Byers, please.
Good evening. We stand over here. My name is Ward Byers, Director of Marshall County Community Corrections. I'm here this evening, as I have been traveling to other towns, to discuss with communities your opioid settlement monies that have been received for 2022 and will be received through 2038. And that's obviously from the lawsuits from the that come as a result of the lawsuits from the pharmacy or the pharmaceutical companies. In Marshall County in the last 3 years, we've had a program called Project Hope. Project Hope is a program that was, it's a consortium of folks throughout Marshall County, and we have some information here for you that we'll pass out. Project Hope, that consortium is a lot of stakeholders throughout Marshall County, and the purpose of it was that it was able to bring a grant, a federal grant to Marshall County. That federal grant was well in excess of $1 million. It's provided opportunities for enhanced treatment. It's expanded treatment opportunities for those suffering from opioid disorders in Marshall County. It's provided funding for Bowen Center to expand their services. It's provided funding for peer recovery coaches and skills coaches. It's provided funding to Council on Aging to assist with transportation for those needing transportation to and from treatment appointments, that type of thing. It's assisted with, and in doing that, It's assisted with, clients from our probation department, our new drug court, community corrections. It's helped enhance those treatment opportunities for them that they didn't have before with these dollars. It also has placed, a lot of resources. Our health department, Sandy is here. It is assisted with education. It is assisted with public information and knowledge about the opioid crisis. It's also money's been put into our schools to assist with education on smoking and vaping and that type of thing. So what the ask is would communities be interested in their 22-23 opioid dollars to turn those over to be a match for this grant that the state of Indiana has opened, the one-time grant match for these dollars for 22-23. We're asking for a one-on-one match through the FSSA that would allow us to broaden our ability to provide these services, keep Project Hope alive and providing these services throughout Marshall County. I can tell you some firsthand information. Project Hope, we've sat on the consortium, but above sitting on the consortium, I've had the opportunity to see firsthand the work that Project Hope has done in expanding those treatment opportunities, providing transportation, all of the things that it has done. And Linda and Sandy, they'll give you some greater information as well. But I can tell you that through the drug court and through community corrections, in the past year and a half, there are 5 people that would be dead today. Truly would be dead today from an opioid overdose if it wasn't for the dollars that Project Hope has infused into Marshall County. That expanded those services. It's allowed us to fast track people into Project Hope. It's allowed, because of the expansion of services, we've been able to work directly with the Project Hope folks at the Bowen Center through drug court, and it's been a really good relationship that the drug court has had with Project Hope folks through the Bowen Center, the peer recovery coaches that they provide, and the expanded treatment opportunities that have been provided through Project Hope. So our hope is, and our goal is, to continue Project Hope as its grant from the federal government will expire in August of this year. The 3-year grant coming to an end. Our hope is to take these dollars from the communities, match that with the state grant, put those dollars at the United Way being the fiscal agent, or will be the fiscal agent, growing those dollars and continuing those dollars out through the consortium, providing services throughout Marshall County to help continue to combat the opioid epidemic that is still here, still very prevalent. I see it every day in my job. We deal with it every single day. And so that is the ask. We're asking communities, would you mind with your $22-23 to partner with us, to partner with the United Way and the Project Hope Consortium to provide those dollars as the match for the grant to help continue these services that have helped everyone throughout Marshall County, and help again provide these much needed services. Project Hope also, it's had some partnerships with Crossroads through the Health and Wellness Program, or committee, I should say. So there's been a lot of successes. There's been a lot of good that has come as a result of the consortium providing these dollars, and it's brought a lot of these organizations together. Our sober living homes in Marshall County have benefited from Project Hope, in addition to a larger number. You can see in the pamphlet who's participating, who's part of it, but these dollars are all over Marshall County. Project Hope is something you probably may have not heard of, may have heard of, but it's a very quiet program that runs in the background. It's doing a lot of good throughout Marshall County in combating opioid disorders and helping those get on the road to recovery and provide them the support systems that they need to continue that recovery. Sandy?
Hi, I'm Sandy Dunphy. I'm the public health nurse at Marshall County Health Department. So, I got involved with Project Hope in the middle of the COVID pandemic, which what we were, trying to find for people is maybe their loved one, was being incarcerated and that had been their breadwinner. All of a sudden, here's mom who has no resources now. So through Project Hope, we could hook her up with, WIC and the kids up with WIC and maybe help the food pantries. We were able to use all those, resources. We also partnered with, Annette Haying of the Marshall County Tobacco Prevention Program. And we were able to get into all 7 schools in the corporation and start working with the youth in the schools about vaping. That's a ongoing issue that we're trying to nip now at the younger age. So these are just some of the ways we were able to work with everyone in the community and getting into the schools with education about not only vaping and smoking, but all, alcohol prevention, drug prevention. So we want to see this move forward.
And I just wanted to add, Linda Yoder with you, United Way of Marshall County and the Community Foundation. And I just wanted to add that this all started with you. It was in 2017, right, that you received the stellar designation, and we started working and collaborating in Marshall County in a very different way. And when they asked me to co-chair the Health and Wellness Committee, we reached out and we found out that Beacon Health System had received this grant to look at ways to address the substance use disorders in Marshall County. And when we went to them, we said, could we join with you? Can we invite St. Joseph Health System to the table? Can we invite other community partners? And it has been a real privilege to work with these folks. They have been at the table. As many as 40 organizations at one time were at the table planning and working toward an implementation grant that rolled out actually over 4 years. It was a 3-year grant because of COVID. It extended an additional year. So we know the power of collaboration. You guys started it here, and we carried it forward through the Crossroads and then into this work as well. So thank you for considering continued support of this. As Ward said, the grant expires in August. Hopefully this grant will be awarded and we can start implementing using these funds as of July of this year. So real key transition for us. Thank you.
Any questions that I can answer from council?
Well, I'll just add that the opioid settlement money that came in from the distributors and from the J&J manufacturer. And the monies that were doled out to the local units and the state of Indiana, they have 2 categories, a restricted category and a non-restricted. So in the restricted area, which is the biggest bulk of the money that comes in, you have to use it on prevention, treatment, recovery, remediation kinds of programs. So it's not like you can put this money to something else. You've got to put it towards some program like that. And so it seems like an easier decision on your part, because unless you got another good program that's going to help on all these things out there, what else to do?
Your first 2 disbursements that they're talking about for 22 and 23 comes out to $18,344.91.
Rich?
Couple questions for Ward. First, Ward, what have other towns in the community in Marshall County done as far as their contribution so
Yep.
far?
So we were at Bremen last night. Bremen has partnered with us with their their opioid dollars. They COVID on my brain. Plymouth last night as well. Argus, they have appeared to be in the affirmative, but we still will be meeting with them. They gave us a thumbs up. Okay, Argus has given us a thumbs up, La Paz and Bergen.
Okay, thank you. A second question is follow up. Both you and Sandy mentioned programs in the school.
Yes.
And it was one of the things I'm talking to Karen Schumann, our school superintendent, before we heard about this request, about things that we might do there. She talked about a concern with vaping and things like that. As we move forward, how will that impact not just the whole Marshall County, but what type of services will come back to, say, the Culver schools?
Yeah. So that's where Annette Haining and smoking cessation through St. Joe and Readi is working with those schools, and they have been doing education in the schools as to the dangers of vaping.
Yeah.
And information such as that. They also, well, go ahead, Sandy.
There's a program right now that we've already completed in 5 of the 7 county schools. It's called Remedy Live. Where they go in and the kids, they use their cell phone and it's all done anonymously. And they ask a variety of questions like, have you ever vaped? How old were you when you vaped? You know, they answer it and the data is all collected. So when we get done with all 7 schools, then we'll be releasing that data. Some of the questions are, does someone in your household use opioids? Have you ever witnessed an overdose? Do you know how to use Narcan? I mean, it is from social to mental health issues. So the education component, that's where we really want to drive it home. And if we don't start in our schools when they're young, you know, that's, I think back to, you know, the DARE program in the school when our kids were young. I mean, I can remember our kids coming home. At that time, my husband and I were both smokers. I hate to admit that, but you know, just how that impacted them to where they hounded us. We quit. When you got an 8-year-old every day saying, you know, giving you statistics about dying, it finally sinks in. So I guess that's my hope with this. If we can push this on our, you know, schools to educate our children, they'll educate their parents.
And Mr. West, to continue with that, you know, through 2038, you'll have both restricted and unrestricted. And, you know, the council can choose to continue to help the schools with that, or the DARE program, or anything else maybe your chief has in mind for those dollars that would help with prevention and education.
Thank you. And just for the record, this qualifies under both the restricted and unrestricted funding.
It does, but most definitely the restricted.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Just to add a little optimism to the whole thing. Board said something about the pharmacies. Actually, there is in the works a global settlement with the 5 biggest pharmacies in the country. Not going to be as much money as they got with the distributors or the manufacturer, but pretty close. And if they do that global settlement, it's going to go through the same Indiana statute as the other one. So you'll be getting the same kind of restricted, unrestricted revenue. You're not going to get as much as you got now, but happen to say 75% maybe if the numbers work out.
Any comments? What can we do next?
Your action would be motion to approve the $18,344.91 of your first 2 disbursements for the match and the FSSA grant.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Good.
I'll second.
That's a good motion. Mr. West, second. Any discussion? If not, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passed.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your partnership for the program. Thank you for your hard work.
Yeah. Next on the agenda is the adventure sailing contract.
Yes, I sent you a copy of this. Nothing has changed since last year's contract that we had made several modifications to, and Amber has reported that this program did very well this year. So we'd like to keep the same contract in place. The only thing that will change are the dates of the camps. Because there's an appendix with those dates that will be updated. And we'd like your authorization to move forward, get that signed with adventure sailing.
I have a motion to approve the adventure sailing contracts. Mr. Shari makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. West seconds. Any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Contract passed.
The next contract on your agenda is MCEDC. As you know, we made several modifications this last year. We agreed at one of our previous council meetings to continue with the same addendum as last year. Greg Hildebrand has run that by his board and they have approved that. So I'd like a motion to approve moving forward with signing that contract.
Any comments as far as council is concerned?
A question, Judy.
Uh-huh.
At one point, I think we split those payments into biannual instead of annual. Is that, does it make a difference?
I think actually quarterly.
They're quarterly, okay. Yeah. Good.
I have a motion to approve, please.
Probably ought to announce how much it is.
It's a $10,000 contribution.
I'll make a motion to approve the $10,000 for the MCEDC contract.
Mr. Sardi moves. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. West seconds. And is further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Next item on the agenda is the second, and third read of ordinance 2023-004. Annexing and bringing within the town limits of Culver, Indiana, certain land in Union Township, notably 18710 Tamarack Road. Any discussion on the part of council?
I guess do we do second and then third?
Yes, we can.
You had a 5-0 vote the first read, so you can suspend the rules.
Like to suspend rules and motion if we bring second and third reading of the ordinance 2023-004, annexing and bringing from town limits Culver 18710 Tamarack.
Okay, it's been moved to approve on second, and third read. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Mr. West seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Ordinance approved. Next item on the agenda is blue zones.
I asked the blue zones to be kept on the agenda, as you all recall from Friday's work session. Main reason being there were several council meetings last night, and there might be some further development. I'm reporting that the Bremen Town Council last night voted to repeal their $100,000 donation to blue zones. A vote of 4-0, and that now 5 out of 7 local governments have rejected blue zones.
Want to put that in the form of a motion?
No, I'm just an FYI. For right now, I mean,
What were their proposals for improving health in Marshall County as an alternative? Do they have any?
none that I know of.
Thank you.
None that I know. Like Linda said, a month or so ago, they were looking at some other options, but I haven't seen anything in black and white or read anything yet. So I'm mainly bringing this up, as I did the first time go around, is trying to find money for paying our police department and fire and EMS, increasing their salaries. Since that hadn't come up yet, I'm not asking yet that we put that money that is set aside, the 15,000, which I think is what you might be asking, Bill. But I want to see what those departments come up with the salary increases, and want to know, like I always want to know, where's the money coming from? And I just think that this is an excellent place to get that money. $25,000 a year for 3 years is $75,000, which will go a long way to paying the increased salaries of fire, EMS, and police.
Town manager search.
Russ?
On that subject, blue zones,
Yes,
guys speak.
take your name and address, please.
Russ Mason, 530 Forest Place, Culver.
Yes, sir.
As I understand it, a great deal of the initial expense of blue zones is going to be administrative. getting people on board to implement these plans. I have read that Senate Bill 4 is being proposed. And there's all kinds of things in Senate Bill 4, but one of the things that's in there is taking money, state money, to help with health and human services. Also, I just read that the State Department of Health is appropriating $1 million for the purposes of improving the health of the state. We just heard from the people from Project Hope. They're working on those kind of areas. We've got a lot of people already working heavily to try and improve the health. And I will bring up a point that I brought up before. Somebody said, well, Fort Worth, Texas got a great improvement with their blue zones. They cut their smoking by 60% or 70%. That's one of the things that we're working on in Project Hope, is to educate people about the use of smoking. So, in my opinion, it would be premature to spend money now on blue zones that would mainly go towards administrative costs and not real programs.
Town manager search.
I don't have any new news for you. I know that, your consultant has received some applications on Indeed. So they're coming in. I don't know what they look like or have any further news on that.
Town manager report.
Yes, starting, with the building commissioner position. We are, interviewing a candidate on Thursday, and by we, I mean Karen, myself, and Bob. The people who probably work closest with the building commissioner. So we will let you know how that goes. Under utility street department, Bob is ready to hire seasonal help. Mainly, this is the mowing position that we budgeted for. We'd like, your approval to go ahead and advertise and get that position hired.
Is there a motion to approve hiring of seasonal help? Second, Mr. Goodman seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Okay, great. Jerry Seiler, our newest street department employee, is now on the probation, which qualifies him for a 50-cent raise, and we'd like a motion to authorize that.
And then for the pay, including March day.
Second. It's been moved by Mr. Rosari and seconded by Mr. West to approve Jerry's completion of probation and the 50-cent rate. And all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Great. The Lake Max Trail Phase 3 and State and Jefferson Street, phase are, really not a whole lot of update there, other than our phase 1s are done on that project, which just means it's moving along through the environmental preliminary engineering stage. The water project in the north end of town, the Midwestern, you've got the schedule there in the town manager report. We'll open bids for that on March 14th meeting. So that one is currently out to bid. Well testing. We're still working on next steps for that. Trying to get pricing put together, and then item permits to be the next move on that project. As you saw with BS Engineering and Community Crossings grant, we opened the only bid for that tonight. So that one is currently on schedule. We'll have BS Engineering take a look at that. And then we'll ask you to make a decision on that at our next meeting. Crossroads, Park Crossroads Stellar project. This is the regional Stellar project, still under construction. Expected completion would be spring to early summer. We've reported progress on that at the quarterly Okra meeting this past week. I'm going to skip over emergency services and let the department heads cover that. Under Surf Broadband, as you can tell, they are here, marking, locates, getting ready to do boring, They've started on the west, south end of town. So we are underway.
Sign went up down on the south window this afternoon.
And you'll see some more signs in the right of way throughout. For the comprehensive plan, several people showed up for our last Crossroads Culver meeting. We kind of had a very full room. We also had in focus there, because they're conducting the study with Develop Culver. And we finished the utility infrastructure deep dive. And I believe we have one more round of those, and then that information will be collated and go out to the public for feedback. Merchant Association meetings, Amber and I had one this past week or so ago. We had very little turnout for that. So we've talked with a couple of the merchants who have been more of the regular attendees to that. We're going to move that to quarterly meetings and see if that gets better attendance. No new special event permits for tonight. And then I don't have any further updates since our last meeting on the Readi grant or June's project and annexation of Tamarack Road. We've already covered this evening. So that's it.
Thank you. Department head report, BMS, are you reporting? No, sir. Yeah.
He's
All
out.
right. Fire, Larry.
Yeah, I have a few things to go over with you tonight. One of them is it's a link of, service award. I told you guys a while back, I was trying to get the perk for our department to keep people. It's basically a retirement fund set up. So with Karen's help, we went through, dealt with the insurance company, came back, we have some numbers. We're a little lax on the money that I put away in the budget. With Marlene, she's gonna help pick up part of that. The guys on our department are gonna pick up part of that, and hopefully Karen's gonna pick up part of that shortfall of that fund. If there's more information, I'll leave a packet for you guys. It's not a major amount, but for the first 5 years, it's a buyback program for anybody that's been in. They have to be in the department 10 years to be able to collect on this policy. And at the age of 65, depending on how many years you served, that's how much money you will get out of this package. Insurance, so it's kind of, it's got some twists and turns in it. You'll definitely, you guys will have to do things. They won't just be on the department. They'll be up to staff. They'll have to show up. They'll have to do training. They'll have to do, to be eligible for this packet. It'll get redone every year. So this will be kind of on a floating account until next year's budget, when hopefully we could work it in a little better this year. I put money away, but it wasn't enough. So I kind of want you guys to do improvements to move on. Financing, I believe we're $2,400 short of what I budgeted. But I've met with Marlene and she's willing to pick up a third. The department's willing to pick up a third. And if we can get the town to pick up the other third of that for this year to get the program started and then budget it next year. So that for the first 5 years, it's a little expensive, but after that, it drops down to from 38 to 11,000. And then on how many people, it all depends on people in the department and how many people qualify.
You mean 24,000, not 2,400?
So,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
100. If it was that.
For the unfunded portion for the town would be $8,000.
Yeah.
Or 20.
Right.
Kind of like a perk program where age plus service equals 65. Is that relevant or not?
No, this only pays out at the age of 65. And it will only pay out if you have 10 years of service. And if you have 10 years of collective service and you have to pass everything for 10 years on the department. And then if you say your 11th year, you quit, the year you turn 65, you'll start getting $100.
Okay, so it's a 10-year buy-in.
Right, you'll have a cut, right. Right.
You have copies of all that for everybody to review? or-
I will make sure that you do have them.
I can.
They're very,
Yeah, I think we need to look at it,
Aren't we going to do a work session on retention and other things?
I think there was a work session on the water and sewer rates, the electric rates.
Yeah, okay, sorry. I thought we talked about the retention.
We did too.
We didn't schedule it yet.
We
but I
didn't
think
schedule.
it's- I would suggest it would be just for all of that also. As we go forward.
All right, what else? Secondly, let's see what else we got. You know, a while back, our aerial ladder was damaged. We did get an invoice for the damage that was caused by someone else. Came into, just for your information, $20,574.22, which we have passed on to the contractor who did the damage. Just an FYI. Also, tonight, we took on another applicant, called the Fairchild, which we're gonna try to run through. We did any classes as soon as we possibly can. Get us back to our 17. And one more thing, let's see, I got a contract with Live Oak Electric for $900 to service our generator. It's $50 more than it was. It's for 4 years for $900. So I guess I need approval for that.
So it's a 4-year contract,
Yeah.
$900.
Yes.
So moved.
Been moved and seconded to approve the contract with Live Oak Electric. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Contract is approved.
I believe that's all I have.
Thank you. Wayne.
Well, like to bring the town's attention of, I'm gonna read something here shortly. But I want to honor one of our employees who's been with us just a little over 25 years. Chad Becker. Come on up. January 1998, that's Becker, in 45 days. It's really been a pleasure to work with him. He's been a real asset to the department. We've done a lot together. Can't begin to try to tell you stories about that stuff, so I won't tell you.
It goes both ways.
But I do appreciate Chad. That has something to read.
Chad, I have a proclamation of gratitude. Whereas on January 14th, 1998, Deputy Chief Chad Becker was hired into the town of Culver Police Department. Whereas Deputy Chief Becker has dedicated 25 years of his career to protect the citizens in the town of Culver. Whereas Deputy Chief Becker has created positive relationships within the town's Culver leadership over the past 2.5 decades. And encouraged other officers in the department to maintain a department of professionalism and integrity. Whereas Deputy Chief Becker's commitment to maintain quality of emergency services has provided health and safety services for all of Culver citizens. Whereas Deputy Chief Becker's service to the Culver Community School Corporation, Culver Academies, and local businesses has created a stronger partnership and community pride. Whereas Deputy Chief Becker's leadership in the police department and in the town of Culver has provided an example to other officers and to all the employees of the town. And whereas Deputy Chief Becker has served the community of Culver in a manner that makes us proud to know and serve with him. Now therefore, I, William Clevenger, Culver Town President of Culver, Indiana, do hereby proclaim this day, February 28th, 2023, a proclamation of gratitude for Deputy Chief Becker's 25 years of service to the town of Culver. I urge all citizens to join me by showing Deputy Chief Becker our heartfelt gratitude. Further, I encourage all citizens to continue to work on Chad's example by promoting safety, professionalism, integrity, and leadership in the work they do for the Culver community. Dated this 28th day of February 9, 2023.
I'm proud that I was part of the town council back then. Brought Chad on board. One of the best things. we did.
And for those who want to join us after the meeting is over, we have some cake and drinks to celebrate some of Chad's. We do want to thank Chad's family for gifting this talent into the town of Culver. And I want to personally thank you for all the time we've worked together. You are a gift to this community.
Thank you. Thank you to the current council. Thank you to the past councils that I've had the opportunity to work with. And also thank you to Wayne. He and I have, as he said, have some stories together. We won't share all of them, but, I started in 98 under a different chief, and then Wayne took over as the chief in 2000. So I worked under, Wayne's leadership since 2000. So, the majority of all my time has been with Wayne as the chief, and we make a good pair, I think. So I appreciate everything from the town and continue to look forward to the future. Thank you.
Picture you too.
Picture. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Aaron. Thank you all. Well done, Chad. Done. Well done.
Clark, Amber?
It's a hard one to follow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We've been, conducting interviews for the park staff, sent out offers. Our lifeguards are now pretty set. We're signed up for certification classes. Right now offers are out for concessions, and then we're set for our maintenance crew. So, it's looking good for our 2023 park staff. Looking forward to the summer. Got our summer guide out, so check it out. And then tomorrow we have a technology session. That'll be at the Beach Lodge, I believe, I hope, 1 to 3 p.m. Is that right? No, 12? Yeah, something really, oh yeah, it's like really 2:40, really specific time. I sent it out on TGL. It's posted on the board as you walk out of town hall. That's just being led by some CGA students as part of the CWC celebrations. So bring your laptops, phones, whatever else to the technology session tomorrow. We're getting ready for the Easter egg hunt, which will be April 8th. That's always a big task, big event for us. We're looking forward to. I believe that is all. So.
Thank you, Amber. Utilities, Bob?
Took care of my 2 orders of business, and I'd like to thank Jeff for his services.
Thank you, Bob. Boards, commission reports, plan commission.
Nothing new for Plan Commission and Board of Zoning Appeals. I think I shared with you at the last meeting that we did 181 permits through November of last year. Don't have December's data yet, but through November, that equated to about 51 million in value. These are value assigned for those permits. Collected revenue around 38,000. That is just on the permits. That doesn't include the BZA and Plan Commission hearing applications. And both of those boards are very busy. We have not had a month without cases or agenda items that have been important. And if you see any of those folks, please give them your thanks. They're doing a fantastic job.
Thank you. Redevelopment Commission, Sally?
We had a meeting and reorganized. President. I will be on as the vice president. Issue, and we've not got the secretary as yet.
Tree Commission. We heard a report of the Tree Commission. Yes, John.
Just a heads up, our budget allowed us to remove 10 trees this year.
Due to mild weather, we already have 8 of them down. It's 2 to go. And, we have to wait for spring for the stump grinding. We have to lose the section of sidewalk. Should be all done by another few weeks. For the grinding and stumps.
Thank you. Clerk's report.
I have a couple of invoices or claims over 2,500 for your approval. Applied Innovations for $5,558.43, and that's for the copy machine, and that's why you can no longer have lines on any of your copies. And then Seller Services, $4,476.49, and that was for the Christmas lights in the park.
Motion to approve claims over $2,500. Move. Second, moved by Githens, second by Mr. West. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign.
So the next thing I have is cancellation of outstanding warrants. The State Board of Accounts directs us to cancel warrants that are outstanding over 2 years. And that would take us back to 2022. And we just had 3 of them, and that for a total of $104. So if I could have a motion to approve the cancellation of those outstanding warrants.
So moved. Second's been moved by Mr. Githens, seconded by Mr. West. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
The last 2 months are probably, well, every month is busy, but the last 2 months is especially busy with reports. I've just to let you know, I've submitted the W-2s to employees, 1099s to contractors, W-3s and WH-3s filed with the IRS and Department of Revenue. The 100R was submitted to the State Board of Accounts. The video franchise report was submitted to the Indiana Utility Regulatory Committee. The debt management report was submitted on Gateway. And this afternoon, I submitted the annual financial report via Gateway. There's one more report, which is due in April, and that's the TIF management report. But that's with the Redevelopment Commission. But I did submit the annual financial report. Bill Clevenger came in and reviewed it prior to submission. I did provide a full copy of it to all of you. If I could have if you don't feel comfortable, since I just gave it to you today because it was just finished and it's due today, basically an approval of the submission. And you can do that at the next meeting.
Thank you.
So then next thing I have is sidewalk program. We're getting ready to open up for applications on April 1st for the sidewalk program. That's been the historic how we've operated. The rates of reimbursement, though, has not changed in at least 12 years because they haven't changed since I started. And I'm not sure how long before that they were set. Right now, the sidewalk rates are $2.75 per square foot for reimbursement, just for the sidewalk. A curb is $14 per lineal foot, and a sidewalk curb combination, which would be like the sidewalk is right here and then the curb and the road. That's $26 per lineal foot. Bob met with one of the contractors that does a lot of concrete work, and he had made the suggestion that maybe we up the reimbursement rates, because of the increase in labor and concrete costs. So the proposal is to update the sidewalk from $75 to $4 per square foot, the curb from $14 to $21 per lineal foot, and the sidewalk curb combination from $26 to $39 per lineal foot. I would also like to add some language to the application and the instructions because I've run into this issue a couple of times. If you do not plan to complete your sidewalk project in the year in which you apply for funds, don't apply for funds that year. You must complete the project in the year you receive approval, as funds will not roll over to the following year. And not completing your project in the year you apply will disqualify you from applying in a future round. And there's some, maybe not recently, but there's been some that have applied for 3 years and held up that money and not gotten the project done until that 3rd year. And so that would be language for your consideration. Seeing as I do need to get information out, I can get information out about the program without necessarily setting the amount. So if you want to wait until the March 14th meeting to make a decision, I'm fine with that. But I will get information out saying that applications are due April 1st.
I would like to add that, the annual report was done without exception and fine job, Karen.
I've got two more things. The last couple of years, we've had a Board of Finance meeting. And I've just been very, at the beginning of the year, usually I get that done in January, February. So, I know you all have a work session at 4:30 on Tuesday, March 14th, and that's to discuss water and sewer rates and electric charges. But if we could just set maybe, a meeting for the 28th, it won't take long. But then also just to let you know, Baker Tilly is finishing up their update to the water and sewer rate studies that they did last year. And then finally, I provided the names of several companies that will do an employee retention study if you want to explore any of those opportunities or options. So, and that's all I have.
Thank you. Attorney's report.
Yeah, I just have a quick thing. I dropped you all an email circulated. The case management conference scheduled in the litigation involving the Culver neighbors for responsible development versus the town of Culver et al. Is still scheduled for March 17th, this morning. I expect the judge will schedule a hearing on the developer's motion to dismiss for lack of standing, the town's motions for judgment on the pleadings, and for the plaintiff's motion for injunction, probably several weeks down the road. And but we'll keep you advised of all of that. If you that there was a recent response to the developers that I shared with you and a few other, I think, folks that are involved in this on the plaintiff's level. So if you have any questions, need additional information, feel free to get a hold of me. I don't think yet it's necessary to have an executive session to discuss strategy. Ms. Cerisi is still on top of everything, although she's busy with a big case next week, but either one of us, I think, could answer questions, and at some point we'll probably need to meet again. And with that, that's all I have.
Thank you. Anyone here for utility shut off or ordinance violations? Anyone online? Going online?
So before you go to citizen input, I have one more thing that I wanted to report on.
Yes.
Yesterday I got MACOG's report on the survey results that we did for Destination 2040 comp planning. They have not scrubbed the data, but they've identified which surveys are repeated from IP addresses. So where a household had maybe 2 from that household, I'm leaving those in because it could be like 2 adults took the survey. But there are cases where one IP address produced 30, 40 surveys. So I will scrub those. And then once I'm done with that, we'll be able to reproduce the results of the survey. And I just want to let you know that I've got their data now.
Thank you. Good. Anyone in here for citizen input? Paul?
Paul Benedictus, I live at 424 Forest Place. It seems to be a theme, at least through this meeting from Russ and some of the topics, that finances for the town versus the budget sound like they're tight. So I've got a couple questions. First is, are we at a point where our obligations and our finance revenue coming in are about the same? Are we tight? Are we running your shortfall? Bill?
Karen, would you like to answer the question?
You know what, actually last year we came out between the department's underspending or not spending their full budget, because we do try to, budget enough for them to do what they need to do. So usually you over budget a bit.
Sure.
And then a couple of areas bringing in some extra unanticipated funds. We ended up about $300,000 ahead in the general fund. So that's something that I'm trying to get through all the reports that I listed to get all that information out to the public. So if you can be patient, I can provide all that information.
What I'm hearing, it just sounds, whether Bill and other people are bringing up statements about where are we going to find money for certain things. It sounds, as a citizen, it just sounds like we're running right at our limit. And I don't understand if we were. Second is through the year, how can citizens follow where the town is going with the budget against what's budgeted and what's being spent? So how do we, without inundating you, how do we go to a point on our website or wherever where you post the budget quarterly? Here's the actual versus what we plan. Bill?
Karen, I'm good. Defer to you again.
I'm in the process of updating the website.
Okay.
We have a new design. So I'm gonna ask for patience.
Oh,
In
I
updating
just
that.
wanna know. Yeah.
If you want specific information, feel free to contact me. And as you've done in the past,
Yeah.
I try to be responsive
You are.
and get that information to
You are.
you.
And I'm actually, I want to avoid the idea that you get hit by many people
Well,
as we go through the year and they can go to one spot and find it.
I realize that, and I know you want everything in one spot, but getting everything updated
Sure.
in a timely fashion can be difficult some days. So I just ask for patience, and if there's something specific that you're looking for, feel free to contact me, as you've done in the past, and I think others have done in the past as well. And I feel like I've been pretty responsive on getting information back as requested.
And the reason I ask this is, it just sounds like if people are coming to a meeting and they're talking about funding a certain thing, a citizen doesn't have a lot of view to it. You have more information and just trying to be informed. The last question is, Jenny, when's her last day?
And that tomorrow,
But it's in the month of March?
like,
Okay. Congratulations.
thank you.
Alan?
I'm here to talk about the Lakeshore Drive.
What's your name and address, please?
Alan Moore, Beach Road,
Beach Road? What number?
19,300.
Thank you.
I came to the town office and asked for a print of what's happening on Lakeshore Drive. This is what I got. I know you don't have a copy of it. But it's a design of that, and I just kind of question the design. The design shows that there will be 2 5-foot bike lanes run through in front of, you might say, a parking shop, along with 2 10-foot driving lanes. And my question is, do we need bike lanes when we had a bike business here in Culver that's no longer in existence? Do we need bike lanes? Next thing is, if it's not going to be used for bike lanes in this town, will be used for a golf cart. A golf cart, this lane shows that they're 5 feet wide. A golf cart is 4 feet wide. That's kind of a dangerous place to be on a road.
So you
The
can
5
have a
foot
golf
lane.
cart on any road in Culver.
Pardon?
You can have a golf cart on any road in Culver, not just that one.
Yes, I know, but let me finish them. And it's a 5 foot wide with a 6-inch curb on your right. And if there's, we're gonna get to this, emergency vehicles coming through there, that golf cart cannot get out of emergency vehicles' ways because the golf cart cannot go over a 6-inch curb or a bicycle, either one. So you're gonna hinder
Either.
emergency services for coming up through there.
Can a car get out of the way? I mean, I don't see your point.
I mean, we're not emergency vehicles coming. Is going down the road, they're asking people to move over as far as they can.
That's
If
right.
both move over, then there's sufficient room in the middle for the emergency vehicle pass.
He can't get over. He can't merge because he can't get over that curb.
You've got both lanes. And when they move
Your
over,
fire truck or your police car is in a 10-foot lane. They only make them 10 feet wide.
there's
Instead of
not,
14 like your interstate.
Well, that vehicle won't stay in that lane, it'll pass a vehicle if they necessary.
If
mean,
the
it's
resident
not like
coming
that.
from the other direction.
Yeah, most people, when you have your lights, signs, all that going, everybody's supposed to stop. Including dogs going to traffic.
But they can't get out of your way because they can't get over the curb.
the bicycle
can't-
lane is not, is in the roadway, is it?
Yes, bicycle lane is in the road.
It's not like there's a curb there big enough to go over.
There is a curb on the right.
there's a curb. For the site.
It's a curb on the right of the road. It's in this design.
Right, and the opposite side has the sidewalk.
And a
But
curb, and a curb.
yes, and we're trying to deal with water runoff on the east side of the road, and we're trying to widen the road slightly there. That's
Okay.
the purpose of the project.
And widening the road, you're gonna move the crown of the road, which is the center, 5 feet to the east. So that means when you come off of State Road 17, or you come off of Academy Road, you're gonna jog 5 feet to the east. Every time.
I trust the engineer's design versus we trust the engineer's design versus your design.
This is not my design. I talked to
Wow.
Mr. Ty Adler, Adler. I talked to Adler, is that his name? Ty,
By Adley,
Washoe County Planner, and also the Sheriff's Department, and they think this is a poor design.
not their road,
Pardon?
not their road.
No, but you told the last time I was in this thing here that you thought Ty was the greatest thing ever walked.
It's wonderful.
Well, then you should.
Well, and do you have a remedy?
Yes. If you ever drove down the north end of School Street, take a look, exactly what you've already done in the north end of School Street. There is no curbs. The lanes are 13 or 14 feet wide. No restrictions.
Can't make the lanes wide, there's only so much space within the right of way to make a road.
Well,
Half these roads were here long before I was even born. So,
How wide can you make it? In there without the bike lanes? Don't put the bike lanes in, you can have 15 feet on both sides.
All right, everyone, thank you. Is there anything else?
Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you very much. Any other individual on this? Amber?
I'm just announcing this on behalf of the Culver and Lake Maxintucky Visitor Center. We did extend an offer for that event coordinator position, and I'm happy to say that Andrea Kanachi accepted it, and she'll be serving the town and the visitor center in the event coordinator position.
Thank you. Council issues. Rich?
Just as a follow-up to, at our last meeting, John Humphrey raised a question about safety, as a follow-up to the shootings that are occurring way too frequently, throughout the country. And I've invited Karen Schumann to come before the council at our next meeting. And she's tentatively scheduled to do so, to talk about, safety issues.
Thank you. As I mentioned in our last meeting, on behalf of the former library and present library, Laura Jones is going to be our new library director, and she starts tomorrow. She's been with the State Library Association for the last 3 years. And also at this time, Erin Lawrence, who is our current director, will remain with the library, and she'll be the assistant director, and she'll start her new job on April the 1st. And the library has also submitted their annual report as of yesterday. Thank you. Sally?
All I have is I'd like to congratulate Andrea. You would do that for me.
Yeah, for sure.
I think she'll do a fine job.
I have nothing.
Uhas has something online. Uhas has something online.
Okay.
Hello.
Just a second, Tom.
Okay, I'll wait.
All right, there you go.
Yeah, Mr. Clevenger, you didn't ask for participation from anybody online, so that's why I didn't raise my hand. But anyway, I had asked at the most recent Culver Redevelopment Commission meeting, the reason why the town council had approved 5 members to the 2023 CRC, yet only 4 members are listed on the agenda. I was told by the new CRC president that the 5th person is being withheld until which time they have had Culver as their permanent residence for 1 year. when I asked if this was in state statute, they said no, and it was discussed with the town attorney and previous town council president to wait until April. I just like your input as to why that decision was made. When I got on CRC in 14, I had not been a resident for a year, and appreciate your input.
I think I was advised that it was the CRC's rule that they wanted citizens in the town for a one-year residency. And I guess it's a policy that was preferred by the council, and that's why they did it that way.
Yeah, all of when we published that there's open positions, that was one of the policies written into it. So
Yeah,
we
that
were
was
trying
a
to follow that policy.
But I was told that that was printed in error regarding CRC. That was what was required for the other boards such as planning and zoning. So again, I don't know why we're holding back on having 5 members. If you appointed 5 and you're withholding one, why didn't you just have another reappointment done as soon as that person wasn't qualified?
The decision was made to wait until she'd been here 1 year, just to avoid conflict.
Well, that's fine, but the decision isn't based on any state statute. That's my problem. So anyway, at least the way I understand it, and I respectfully submit that to the attorney. If it's state statute, it's not something I looked up, but you know, apparently someone complained about this 1 year thing and decided rather than have a confrontation, we'll just wait till April. And I don't think that's right. So I've said my piece. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Tom. Anyone else on the side, Tom?
Yep.
Okay. Entertain a motion to adjourn. So move, Mr. Giffen, second.
I'll second that.
Mr. West seconds, all those in favor.
We're running taking claims.
All in favor? Aye.
Was that Gibbons and West?
That's.